I don't like doing worst of lists. I think it's a little bit negative, put that out there. But what I will do is movies that really disappointed me, that never quite gave me what I was hoping for. Some of these may be well-loved movies. Some of these may be well-made movies. They are. They just didn't give me what I wanted out of them. So we're going to discuss my least favourite movies of 2019. So let's get started. Number 10 is Glass. And a lot of people love this, and you're probably going to see it in a lot of top 10 lists, which is fair enough. But after the amazing Split and putting this into the Unbreakable universe, I was hoping for something more, something better. And the ending of trying to shoehorn in some other kind of cult or secret society just felt odd, and it wasn't fulfilling as I want. I had these characters all locked away and not being as playful or as fun as I hoped they were going to be. It definitely left me going, I was okay, it just wasn't great, wasn't what I hoped for. Number 9 is another movie that wasn't what I hoped for. Happy Death Day 2. I loved the first one. I found it to be just so much fun. It was a rather tame, gore-wise movie, but a good slasher, one that I went back to a couple of times, and I just find it immensely fun watching it. And I was hoping for much of the same. And it does try to change the mould a little bit, but I feel it takes it away from horror, putting it into sci-fi, and it becomes something that I was rather bored with all the way throughout it. It didn't interest me. The character of Tree wasn't as fun in this one as she was in the first one. I think the whole references to Back to the Future are trying to make it a little bit more like that movie. Never quite landed, and for me, it left me extremely disappointed. Yes, I wanted more of the same, and by trying to do something different, it never quite worked for me, which is a shame. Number 8 is Child's Play. I was super amped for this. I love the series. I was excited to see where this was going to go, and it was technology run amok, but done in a kind of dull side. You know, I wasn't a fan of the doll of Chucky. I wasn't a fan of Mark Hamill's voice. I really missed Brad Dourif. I really missed the serial killer encapsulating this doll aspect of the movie. I found the kills to be rather uninspired and kind of boring and tedious, and the ending to be rather silly. Not my favourite Child's Play movie. Number 7 is Godzilla 2 King of the Monsters. This thing looked amazing. The monsters looked wild and different. Looked as if it had some stunning photography. And I really do like Michael Dougherty, the director. He did Trick or Treat, which is wonderful, and Krampus, which I kind of like a lot as well. What I found about this movie was everything to do with the monsters was great. The look of them, the way they destroyed things, the big hulking behemoths that they were was amazing. But they had more character in them than the humans did. And we spent a lot of time with these humans who were boring and uninteresting. And I didn't want to spend any time with them at all. And what worries me more is the fact that they're going to be back for King Kong versus Godzilla, which is really worrying. All the destruction and all the goodwill built up by the monsters here was quickly torn asunder when we had to go back to the human element, because that had to be shoehorned in for some reason, and it just ruined the movie for me. It was a bore fest. I wasn't wanting to be in this world. I wanted to get out of it as quick as I could, and I found it rather uninspired. Number 6 is a movie you've probably not heard of, but I saw it as part of Fright Fest, and that was Stalked. It was all about a woman trapped within a warehouse with an invisible drone monster, but this was woeful. And normally I wouldn't put these kind of movies on because I never had big expectations for it, but the rationale behind it was silly. The special effects were non-existent. The sets and production value looked horrid. It was just an abysmal movie, and I wanted to throw it on this list just so you're aware of it. So if by some chance you do stumble across it, just make sure you stay well clear of this thing. Number 5 was Rambo Last Blood. Rambo has lost that spark we had of him. He's become a family man. One of his family gets attacked by Mexicans, so you know all Mexicans are bad in this movie, and we get a Home Alone finale, which although is kind of fun, it never quite feels like a true Rambo movie. And that's what I feel the biggest letdown is here. We've followed the character through 4 movies, and for some reason he is completely changed in this one and not the same character that we knew and loved. Sure, the end is fun, the violence is good, but by that point it's too little too late, and you have all these choices, all these ridiculous moments leading up to it that just rob the movie of any effectiveness whatsoever. So by the time we get to the Home Alone sequence, I've already checked out. Number 4, Critters Attack. I was over the moon that there was going to be a new Critters movie, and it had Dee Wallace back again as well, and I was pretty excited, but pretty early on I realised that they hadn't followed the sort of benchmark of Critters 1 by being true horror. They'd followed the second one by trying to be kind of funny and quirky and having cuddly critters here. That doesn't work. That's not the Critters franchise I wanted. This is ripe for a reboot. This is a good horror series that's just waiting for that magic touch of somebody who's going to take the source material and adapt that, making a terrifying horror version of kind of Gremlins. We don't get that. We get fun-filled, quirky little critters that are stuck onto people's legs while they wildly kick and scream, and it just doesn't work. Dee Wallace is back, but she is wasted in a completely silly role as well. This was a huge disappointment, and I wasn't expecting much. Number 3 was the animated Addams Family Snorefest that arrived on the big screens. It has this wonderful cast of characters that we know and love. It has animation so it can go in wacky, strange routes, and it just plays it like a typical animated movie. They move into a town, the town don't like them, the town come to love them and thank them for saving them from some catastrophe. The end. There's no characters that I really loved in this, and even going into the movie knowing these kind of characters and having a kind of love for most of them, watching the TV series and the movies that came out in the 90s, it gave me nothing to latch on to. I was so hopeful for this thing. I was hoping it was going to bring the weird and the wacky and the wonderful, but it aims squarely at kids. It takes no chances, no risks, and for that it's completely bland and wastes these wonderful characters. Number 2 was It Chapter 2. I loved the first one. I thought it was fantastic, a great adaptation of the novel, although it changed some things that I wasn't overly happy with, but it was still a wonderful movie that I went back to a couple of times and loved, and I was looking forward to the conclusion of this saga. And what I got was a rinse and repeat story following characters that I had kind of lost my investment for. You kind of saw them, they went back to an old place in their history, they saw it, a version of it, they got a totem, next character. And we just get that going through until we got to the kind of silly finale of the movie as well, where they kind of belittle it into non-existence. It just felt like a complete mismatch. It was boring, the special effects were a little bit too CGI for me to latch onto. Some of the characters were funny, but overall this, from a high of part 1 down to an extreme low of part 2. For me, I'm going to wipe this from existence. I'm never going to think about it again. If I go back, I'll just watch part 1 and pretend that the story just ends there, because that's fine. This is just horribly inept. And number 1, my most disappointing movie of 2019 is Black Christmas. I loved Bob Clark's 1974 classic. I really liked Glenn Morgan's 2006 remake. I hated this thing with a fiery passion. It's not Black Christmas. They've just basically stole the name and set it in a sorority, but they've turned it into so much social commentary, a Me Too movement movie that doesn't so much wear its thematics and a nice like subtext. It wears them as part of the storyline. It is the main driving force. The fact that there is something killing people is secondary to every kind of topic that it wants to bring up. The characters were rather uninspired, the kills were uninteresting, and I just didn't care about anybody in this movie or anything that was happening to them. The people weren't people that I was really invested in. It didn't have any callbacks to Black Christmas, didn't refer to Billy or the phone calls or the kind of somebody in the house hunting them down. It added a silly supernatural element. I do not know why. This had everything that I kind of wanted. It was Black Christmas, it was done by Blumhouse, it was a reinvention of the 1974 classic, and it completely fumbled the ball. I never want to think about this again, ever. It's just a horrible, horrible movie. I couldn't wait for it to finish in the cinema. I couldn't wait to get the hell out. It just was not for me. there we have it. My 10 most disappointing movies of 2019. Now you can hit me in the comment box and tell me why I'm wrong and why you loved some of these movies, or let me know what was the one movie that really let you down this year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Man v Film.